It has been confirmed by Gwent Police tonight that they have found the body of the man that they were looking to speak to in connection with the shooting that happened in the hairdressers on Friday afternoon. We know that the body was found at 8:15. Police haven't made it clear, though, exactly where that body was found. Just to recap a few details in terms of the shooting incident, it happened at around 2:30 in the afternoon. The man went in, it appears, opened fire, and 3 women were injured. One of them had a gunshot wound to her knee. The other 2, one had injuries to the neck, another to the arm, although police didn't make it clear as to whether those injuries were a result of gunshots that were fired. In terms of the man's body being found, we understand that police aren't treating his death as suspicious. They have also traced the Mini Cooper that they were looking for in terms of his disappearance.
Rhiannon Mills. The Prime Minister has condemned what he called a vicious and cowardly assault on the British Council building in Kabul. David Cameron said the suicide bombings would not stop Britain from trying to bring peace to Afghanistan. At least 9 people were killed during a sustained and coordinated attack. Our Foreign Affairs editor Tim Marshall reports.
The Taliban attacked at 5:30 a.m. 3 Britons were sleeping in the compound. A suicide bomber blew a hole in the security wall. Others then went through the gap.
When the attack took place, they were moved very rapidly to a secure room where they were able to be in contact with the outside world through radio and to be safe until they were able to be rescued.
The Afghan police rushed up reinforcements. An 8-hour gun battle ensued. At times, single shots echoed around the bomb-damaged streets. There was also sustained firing. It continued even as the fire brigade struggled to put out a blaze in the compound. NATO soldiers were called in. Among them, British and a unit of SAS troops from New Zealand. They helped clear the compound and save those inside. But one of the New Zealanders was killed. 3 local guards died, as did 3 former Gurkhas, also on guard duty. The Afghan police suffered the heaviest losses.
As a result of this attack, unfortunately, there are 8 killed and 16 wounded. Most of them are police officers.
The attack coincided with the anniversary of Afghan independence from Britain. The Prime Minister paid tribute to the security forces.
There's been a tragic loss of life of Afghan police and others. I've also spoken to the New Zealand Prime Minister this morning to thank him for the incredibly brave and hard work of New Zealand Special Forces who helped to bring this appalling incident to a close. But it will not stop the British Council and indeed our whole effort in Afghanistan to bring greater stability and peace to that country.
The British Council, which helps educate ordinary Afghans, was a soft target. Security is being reviewed, but the Council insists its work in the country will carry on. Tim Marshall, Sky News.
Gunmen in Pakistan have attacked a NATO fuel convoy. The 5 tankers were set on fire then in the province of Baluchistan. It's believed the convoy was parked at a roadside restaurant on its way to Afghanistan. There were no reported casualties. 2 women from Northern Ireland have been killed on holiday in Turkey. There are reports that Marion Graham and Kathy Dinsmore had their throats slit because one of the victims had refused a local waiter's proposal to marry her teenage daughter. Sky's Harriet Prest reports.
Turkish police recover the bodies of 2 women found in a forest on the west coast of the country. Their throats had been cut and they'd been stabbed repeatedly. Now a young man has confessed to their murders. Marion Graham and Kathy Dinsmore are said to have been inseparable friends. The two women, both aged 53, were from Newry in County Down and were regular visitors to Turkey. Marion's 15-year-old daughter had started a relationship with a man she knew as Alex. It's thought the 17-year-old waiter wanted to marry her, but her mother refused to allow it. Alex had then taken the two women on a sightseeing trip 75 miles from their base in Kusadasi to the city of Izmir, where they were later found dead. As investigators studied the evidence found in the woodland area, it's emerged Alex returned to the restaurant where he worked without the two women, and the daughter alerted the authorities. He then admitted responsibility for the killings and is now due before a Turkish judge. His father and a taxi driver are also being held. A statement from Kathy Dinsmore's family says the Dinsmore family are devastated by the tragic death of their beloved Kathy. They are grateful for the many condolences that they've received and appeal for privacy during this difficult time. The 15-year-old girl's father is now flying out to Turkey to comfort her over the loss of her mother Marion and her lifelong friend. Harriet Prest, Sky News.
The United Nations is expected to release its report into the raid on a flotilla of ships trying to reach Gaza last year. The assault by Israeli forces on a vessel aiming to breach a blockade on Gaza led to the deaths of 9 Turkish activists. Israel claims its military were attacked with knives and clubs and has refused to apologise to Turkey over the raid. Publication of the UN report has been delayed several times. A woman has been released from prison following what's believed to be the first appeal against a sentence connected to last week's riots. Ursula Nevin had been jailed for 5 months for accepting a pair of shorts that a friend had looted from a shop. The 24-year-old, who'd been asleep at home during the riots, will now have to do 75 hours of unpaid voluntary work instead. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have been to Birmingham